But that's the thing is end times remnant. It's woken us up. Like everybody's from all backgrounds. And it's been worldwide. He's bringing back people through the law, his ways, his ancient paths. And then from there, it starts to trickle to those who hear and that want to follow. But not everybody has ears to hear or eyes to see yet. Until he pops their delusion bubble, they're just not going to hear.
And that's what's so neat with our community, because I feel like he's touched each person individually to show them that we're all coming back.
Called you out. Yeah.
That's at least the positive side of being the first generation in this movement. I know that the Torah and Messianic movement has been around for a while, but all of us here, our parents didn't raise us in this. We're the first ones, which means that we're all here because God led us here. Yeah. And hopefully we raise our kids so that they stay here, that they don't go wandering off.
Yeah.
And that's another of our goals with Abrams 3:18 is to help reinforce things by making connections between fellowships. With the coming generations, as we're raising our kids in Torah, they're not going to have that advantage of being the ones called out of Egypt. And so these reinforcements that God gives about teach them to your children on the way, when you're walking and when you're working, when you're at home, write them on the doorposts of your homes and on your hands and your foreheads.
Part of your life.
And yeah, it has to be constant reminders all the time. You're essentially brainwashing your kids. But this is what a parent's job is, to brainwash your kids before somebody else does. Yeah, somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's going to do it.
I'm glad that you finished the talk about the children. When we get several weeks from now, Deuteronomy 30, and Moses gives the prophecy about the people coming back in repentance.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He doesn't just say, when you return to the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul. He says, and you and your children love the Lord your God with all your heart and your soul.
Mm-hmm.
Like the focus on the next generation through the book of Deuteronomy is consistent. And it's like, I think what y'all are doing, there's something in there that hints at the final generation actually not doing what the Israelites did when they got into the land under Joshua and forgetting everything so quickly,
Mm-hmm.
but actually creating a culture of the continued remembrance and guarding of the commandments.
There's studies that when a family creates a business, by the third generation, it's either gone or it's on its way down. So like the job, even with the kids, doesn't stop. Then it comes to grandkids. I'm an immigrant. I wasn't born here. So as I understand the value of what it is to come from, let's say, Egypt. Because if you live outside the United States, from Mexico down, this is the land of milk and honey, right? So when you come here, in your mind, you're like, this is the land of milk and honey. I have all these possibilities, all these things. I can increase all of this wealth and all these freedoms that I don't have in other countries and so on and so on. And we understand the value of that. So me and my two sisters, we have seen our parents sacrifice, and we have a different taste of what it is to be here and not somewhere else. But our children, they don't know what it is to make those sacrifices. They don't know what it is to have lived around the desert for 40 years to say, and then come back. The taste, like whenever I bought my first car, when I bought my first house, whenever I graduated from school and I paid for it myself, the taste of that is very intensive.
The struggle.
The struggle to that, to see everything else makes it so much beautiful and wonderful. Earned, right? There's a thing about earning. But then the next generation after that, in theory, they shouldn't struggle as much as we have. They don't know what it is to sleep in an airbed with a pinhole and wake up in the morning on the ground like I did, right? They have no idea. They know what it is to sleep in this comfortable bed with AC system, with heater and all this other stuff. They know what that is. Unless we're constantly explain to them in a very loving manner as well, right? Not like, you don't know what it is to, because you tend to do that, right? The old generation, it's like you young whippersnappers don't understand what it's like to like, blah, 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 But you constantly have to tell them all these things because it will get lost. You get comfortable. That's one of the things that I try to be careful of, is not getting too comfortable in my environment. In fact, as soon as things start going well, I start getting worried, to be honest. I'm like, nope, right? Like, things are going too good, it's like, brace yourself, right? And not to be negative, but that's when I won't say that I catch it every time, but I do get on my hands and knees. And I say, Father, thank you so much for like all these blessings. But I always pray to him too. Don't open any doors that's going to lead me away from you. I would rather stay. And I don't want to, Father, just to be fair. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be living in the streets. I don't want no problems. I don't want to be in jail. I don't want none of these things. But I would rather be there than lose myself and not follow after your ways. Because that's what happens. You get comfortable, and then you start breaking one small thing, and then another, and your children see you, and then they get accustomed to it, and they move on. I think it's good. I think you should, try to better yourself, your family.
You don't want to be in poverty.
So I'm not trying to be a millionaire, but I'm definitely trying to better my life and the life of my family, not for material things. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
But I care about the legacy of things, right? Like, we're talking about businesses, how great it would be, and we talked about this in the past, but how great it would be, because right now we're dependent on the world for a lot of things. But how great it would be as Abrams 318 grows and all these people, and then there's the whole Bible community, right? And you can go in there, and there's a section, if I remember right, for businesses, and you can buy stuff from other believers. And I'm like, that's great. Even I need to do better and go back and take a look at those things, because I'm like, yeah, why would I be buying t-shirts? There's this company and they sell t-shirts and all this other stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to buy my t-shirts from that. Imagine if everybody starts growing and having their own, then you start building again a community of believers that way. And then the world will start seeing those things, and they're like, oh, look how they're blessed or whatever. Then goes back to it. Then we have to be careful to make sure we don't fall into the same pattern as the Israelites did, where everything's fine and dandy, everything's good, and then we forget about him. And then we start worshiping other gods. Like, oh, that's ridiculous. How can we end up worshiping other gods? And I said, well, worshiping other gods is not just, worshiping Zeus, but money can be your god.
Self can be your god.
Self can be your god, right?